How's it going? Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you're here. I'll be real. Today, what I'm going to be talking about is definitely not fun, but I do think it's worth talking about. We're going to talk about the worst days of my life, and I believe there's two routes to go with this, so I will begin with the first. Relationship troubles. The day I broke up with my girlfriend actually wasn't that bad. The literal day, that is. The day involved hanging out in our friend group, and it was a pretty normal day until the pivotal part where we broke up, of course. But even then, it was mutual, we still loved each other, so it wasn't that bad. But it more so hurt later on as time went on, as time proved that yes, this is the reality. I'm no longer with her. Once days passed, weeks passed, months passed, that's when I realized this is what reality is, and when it settled in, that's when it started to hurt. But the actual day wasn't that bad. Within the relationship, one of the most stressful moments was when I was trying to transfer to her school. We began our freshman years at different colleges, and throughout my entire first semester, I assumed, yeah, I'll be at her school next semester for the spring. I got the ball rolling on that by October or November, but in December, I was able to see everything. And I was accepted, and I could have gone. But as a transfer student, I would have gotten no money. It would have been all out of pocket. I would have been unable to pay it. And as soon as I saw how much it was going to cost, I broke down. It was like a scene out of a movie. I was literally crying and screaming like a maniac. Because for months in my life, I was feeling discontent. And the only thing that made me feel okay was that I was going to be transferring out of here shortly. So to be told that I can't due to financial reasons, that hit me really hard. So I'll be real, that stuff pained me, but I am completely aware that there's worse out there. Now for the second route, I can go with the worst days of my life. Death. 2020 and 2021 were years kind of full of death for me in my life, unfortunately. The power of death was first introduced to me around the year of 2018. That was when my two baby cousins passed away at birth. It was a miscarriage kind of situation. Literally, no one did anything wrong. It was just kind of random chance. But the two of them were struggling in the womb, were born, and kind of passed on right away. This isn't something I saw firsthand. I just saw pictures because my mom was able to go and support. But that was really hard. And not just for me, but obviously for my aunt and uncle, right? I have nothing but love for them. They're such strong people, and I'm really, really proud of them. We're not always in control when bad stuff happens, but we always have the power to move on. And then in 2020, first my uncle passed away. This is a different uncle from the other story, I should mention. It was kind of mysterious at first. All my knowledge on it is from a third-person perspective, but unfortunately, he passed away from suicide. It seemed that in that final stage of life for him, he was mentally unwell, isolated, and didn't know what to do. I'll be honest, I did not shed tears when I heard the news, but I was obviously shocked. And it was a very weird feeling that for the first time in my life, someone that I regularly saw in life was then gone, and I literally can't see them again. It's impossible for me to see how my uncle's doing again. I think it's really important to note that depression and mental unwellness is not always visibly obvious. Please remember to look out for one another. There was then the time in early 2021 when my grandpa passed away. He had COVID, and he was in the hospital for a minute there, so it wasn't necessarily out of nowhere. But the day when my mom broke the news to me, that was pretty crazy to hear. Once again, this was a family member that I consistently saw, and knowing that I would not be able to see him again was strange, to say the least. He was a good man, he lived a long life, and he was uniquely him. It became more real when I attended the wake, seeing his body, because when I looked at his dead body, that did not look like my grandpa. Like, it literally didn't. Like, in my brain, I had conspiracy theories running that he didn't actually pass away, that they just took him to farm organs or something and then put a mannequin in his place. Like, it genuinely didn't really look like him. It was really, really weird. I don't mean to be inappropriate, but that genuinely is what was running through my mind at the time a little bit. I think that was a way of coping. But anyways, the funeral, that was pretty sad. I do remember shedding tears. I do remember it all happening so fast. And then before we knew it, the service was totally completed and we all kind of just go home like normal. It was weird. Funerals are weird. Wakes are weird. They feel kind of less about the dead person and more about the living and how they cope with it. But yeah, the wake was a weird situation. Many attended the wake who haven't seen him in years, or more so, there for my mom than for him literally. It was strange. It was less so a culmination of his life, and it more so involved connections from his other family members. I remember the wake being hours long, and I remember seeing some people being on their phones. And it was a weird thing, because there's a dead body right there, but you're on your phone because you're bored. And I can't really blame you, because this thing's hours long, but it doesn't sit right with me. It was a weird thing. Wakes are weird. But yeah, of course, outside of the relationship stuff, outside of death, I have had bad days, but I do consider them on a smaller scale. And I don't believe any of those other things defined me as much as the pivotal days that I've talked about here. I didn't mean to share this story as a way to feel bad for me or something. It's more so that if you're having a bad day, just know you're not alone. Just know that other people are struggling too. But we're going to get through it. We're literally all going to get through it. We're growing from these bad days. We're learning from these bad days. And things will get better. Thank you for listening. I love you. And I'll see you in the next one.